Well, I want to say hello to all of you from around the world, and I want to thank you for joining us for another edition of Soulivity today. We're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Wesley Johnson, and whether you're at home, driving, or even at work, we are always glad you're here with us. Now, if you are ready for a great show, you came to the right place. So let's start here. Our love relationships are an important part of creating our best lives. They provide companionship, love, security, and emotional and physical support for us. But what do you do when you're going through challenges that are completely unavoidable but solvable? Well, back with us again is Melva Johnson, who is the co-founder of the Johnson Relationship Institute for Couples and the co-author of the book Mining for Gold in Your Relationship and the author of 10 Secrets of a Long-Lasting Passionate Marriage. She has more than 4 decades of experience as a psychotherapist, public speaker, co-author, and consultant. And she has appeared with her late husband, Jesse, on local and national radio, as well as television shows, and been featured in numerous print media. And I love that she's here because she's also my beautiful, beautiful mother. How you doing, Mom?
Well, thank you. I'm doing great. How are you, son?
I'm doing good. I'm even better now. This is going to be a good show because just want to let people know that today we're going to be talking about 7 of the frustrating reasons couples get stuck in the reality stage of love. Right, Mom?
Yeah. So we're going to get the big picture and then we're going to pick one.
Exactly. Exactly. So, what's the big picture that people need to know first and foremost about this stage and these reasons?
Okay, so the first stage brings you together with all the romance. The second stage is the get to know you stage, but you're getting to know each other in survival stage so that you can find out what needs to be done to get to the everlasting love, mature stage, the real stage of love. The real
Right. And so there is no skipping this part, skipping the reality love. You can't trick your way around it. You can't buy your way around it. Um, you can stop the relationship and try to start over again, but then you're going to come back to the reality love stage again.
Yes, because you're going to
With
take yourself with you.
right.
So who you were in that past relationship is who you're going to be in that next relationship.
Right. And so there's 7 specific things that you said that you found that's pretty common that happens with couples and people who are in love relationships and even marriages. And today we're going to be talking about number 7, which is feeling misunderstood.
Yeah.
Tell us about this. Tell us about your experience with like when clients come in and they're talking about this.
Yeah. And not just clients, friends and associates who would have you. So the part about misunderstanding is that when people, when things are going really well, it's easy to be clear about whatever you're talking about most of the time. But when there's a disagreement and there's conflict and emotions are flooded and people speak to each other in a way that the other person can't hear. I mean, they speak from frustration, and then that frustration triggers the other person. They go into defensive mode and they go back and forth. And so nothing gets resolved. But what people don't know is what's crucial about that stage, whatever's happening in that moment is a reflection of, number one, the couple being in survival mode. And number 2, it's an opportunity for each person to look at themselves and say, how am I showing up right now?
Mm,
And in the way that I'm showing up, it's a reflection of my relationship skills. Skill to be
okay.
clear, the skill, because people always talk
Wow.
about active listening, but there's the first part in terms of the person who is the triggering person.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
uh, what skills are being revealed in terms of how I'm showing up emotionally,
mm-hmm,
how I'm showing up mentally, emotionally in terms of managing my feelings. What is my skill level in terms of being reflective and thinking things through? And then what is my skill level in terms of expressing the big picture, my purpose for even being in this relationship? Those are my favorite
mm,
three.
wow. So the again, we talked about this in some of our previous um, times together, where there's this myth that when you enter the reality love stage, it's about the other person. And it really isn't about the other person. What's going on is to reiterate and validate what you just said. This is a mirror of what's going on with you and what things that you need to complete and evolve so that you can move to the real love stage with your partner, and both of you are doing the work together and supporting each other together to do that individually, like in our own kind of space. Am I getting it?
Yeah, because it's
Okay.
an opportunity to do your own personal work within the relationship
Okay.
and to get to know the other person. Because, in that moment, what's so interesting about that? In that moment when the emotions are high and what have you, it's like unconsciously, both partners can be in a trance because they have activated the protection, the survival part of their brain. And the main drive and motivator of that part of the brain is to survive.
Mm,
And that part of the
mm,
brain really is in charge of the moment. So people think, you're a grown up, you ought to be able to respond like a grown up.
mhm, mhm.
But when the subconscious takes over, you can't. You just can't.
Wow. Wow.
Because the subconscious, uh, it's in charge of 95% of what's going on in the moment. It's got a lot of
Mm,
power.
wow.
So we can
Wow.
think
And
about, okay, this is what I need to do.
mhm, mhm.
But if the subconscious part that's in survival mode is not in alignment with that, we're going to do what we learn to do over a lifetime, protect.
Wow.
And it's not always pretty.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's not to be judged, it's
Mhm.
to be understood and changed.
Mm. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
It's like, you know,
Wow. Wow. What is this? Set the scene for us here. Can you give us an example of what this kind of looks like so that people can, really feel and identify when they're in this particular reason, like feeling misunderstood?
yeah. And, so what's interesting that it comes up about like small things. For instance, let's take a couple where they're both really busy. They both have full-time jobs. They have children, and there's just so much to do. Well, generally, or in many, many cases, it's the wife who has full-time responsibility at work and often full-time responsibility at home. Not always, but many times. So let's say that this particular wife in this situation, she's just overwhelmed with her life. So when she's at home and she has all of these additional things to do, take care of the home,
Mhm.
cook, blah, 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 blah. And he comes home and to, he winds down first and goes in his favorite chair, watches TV, he has the remote, and he's watching TV. She's trying to take care of this, she's trying to take care of that. and she is just worn out.
Right.
And so she, in her frustration, now she doesn't say this when she's in reflective mode because she's really trying to handle it. But in her frustration, she'll say, now she doesn't ask him directly to help. She says, "You always come home and sit in front of that TV and you never ever help me." So in that moment, it's like he's surprised and he's saying, what, what? And she's going on and on and on and on. And he feels attacked. And so he attacks back. And so then she go, they go back and forth and back and
Or back forth.
they get to the point they're even yelling sometimes. And then when they run out of steam, because they haven't resolved anything, when they run out of steam, then they just stop. Either one person leaves the room or they just operate in silence. Nothing is resolved.
Oh,
Nothing is resolved.
yeah.
And what they don't know in the moment, that is not about, it's 5% about him not helping. It's 95% about what's really going on beneath the surface. In
Right.
terms of what's being revealed is that she doesn't know how to ask for what she wants in a way that he can hear.
Right.
And he doesn't know how to listen. Well, it's hard to listen when you feel like you're being attacked.
Right.
And the problem is nothing gets resolved.
Right.
It happens again.
Wow.
Because she's going to need help tomorrow too. And
Right.
he's going
And
to
he's
go home
gonna
and relax in front of the TV tomorrow as well.
Right. And it doesn't matter for both people the reasoning, right? The reasons
Right.
why the husband is coming home and sitting on the couch. They both have good reasons for why they're doing what they're doing. It's not about that, right? So it's not about who's wrong, who's right, what the husband should do or how understanding the wife should be. It's none of that. Is that there's a disconnect and that it's a reflection of what's going on within each of them, right? Because I think you said a long time ago, it takes two people to do this dance, right?
The tango.
It
only takes one person to get untangled. Right. And see, here's the undeveloped relationship skills in that situation. So number one, in terms of the emotional, neither one of them know how to manage their emotions when they're flooded with emotion. And then the other part is neither person has taken a time out to go into reflection, to ask themselves, well, what just happened? Where is this other person coming from? What am I reacting to? So, so that skill is underdeveloped. And then in that moment, people forget why they are together and what the big purpose is of the relationship.
Wow.
You can't do it. Wow. You can't do it when you're flooded with emotions.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Why don't we let this sink in to folks right now? Kind of let this sink in because I know this may be some new information to people. Maybe they need a little bit of space to kind of start like really integrating it. So we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we'll have more with relationship expert Melva Johnson as we talk about these common, frustrating, relationship reasons why people get stuck, where she's going to be talking about some predictable results when it comes to this. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Do you see me kneeling on this dual roller called Parasetter? It's actually comfortable because of this channel and the softness of the special foam. It feels like my kneecaps are being massaged. When I lie down, my spine is housed in this channel, while the convex rollers massage my muscles. They let go and lengthen. There's a traction effect from my head on the headrest and my mid-back from the rib wrap, which hugs me. When I start the breathing sequence, I feel calm because my cortisol levels are dropping. Lower cortisol means bye-bye constant hunger. Parasetter is 40 inches long and much more comfortable than old-style rollers, but it weighs only 10 ounces. Parasetter, just like Pilates was, is no longer an insider secret. Do yourself a favor. Reset your parasympathetic nervous system. Defeat stress. Lying, sitting, kneeling, or standing. This unique patented roller helps everyone.
Join us every weekday at 8 a.m. for Soulivity Today.
Whether you're just starting your day or on the road,
Soulivity Today will make your days better.
We will empower you with authentic conversation about the latest news and trending topics. Plus, you won't want to miss our interviews with industry experts.
so sit back, relax, and get ready for a whole lot of fun.
Soulivity Today, weekdays at 8 a.m. only on KMET 1490 AM radio and ABC News affiliate. Hey, we are back with noted relationship expert Melva Johnson as we discuss the reason number 7, feeling misunderstood, which is part of common reasons why couples get stuck in the reality stage of love. Woo! Man, oh man, this is deep. This is really, really deep. You know, these reasons are like so paramount. And I'm feeling like, you can't even put them in an order, but you got to, because they're all like important. Mom, you said before, I mean, we were talking kind of offline about this, that when it comes to feeling misunderstood, that you say a lot of times there's predictable results. What do you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, and this is a thread for the other reasons. It's when a person feels misunderstood. I mean, they really take it personal because it means something deeper than what they're experiencing in the moment. It's like an assault to who the other person is, and it's assault to their value. It's, so somewhere beneath the surface, there's self-talk that's like, do you mean that I'm not valuable enough for you to pay enough attention to me, to understand me? So unconsciously, a conversation, something like that is going on. And then that triggers something really deep on the inside. And they react to that feeling. And so the way they react to that feeling, so this is what's predictable.
Okay.
They get triggered. And then they react to the trigger because they're not feeling a value. The way that they react triggers the other person in terms of what's the meaning that the other person has. Like in the scenario, the guy was feeling, attacked. And then they react, counter-react, and then they just go back and forth, so they get stuck in the heat of the moment. And the problem is, since nothing gets resolved, because both people are in defensive mode, then the resentment, the bad feelings, the negative feelings, they just simmer underneath the surface until the next time.
Wow.
The next time could be 5 minutes. The next time could be the next day. The next time could be the next week. But there will be a next time because the situation is the same. They have not resolved it because they don't know how.
Is also part of this, and I know, I've experienced this in my own life, where whatever happens and doesn't get resolved, it's almost like a note gets written. Okay, when something similar comes up that's kind of like what I just experienced, I'm going to throw another flag, right? Or I'm going to get triggered and I'm going to react again. Because you're in defense mode. You're just literally waiting for that moment to happen. And like you said, it could be 5 minutes. It could be a week. It could be a couple of months, but it's just sitting there waiting. And it's like, okay, yeah, I remember how you made me feel or whatever. And I'm going to let you know when that moment, when I get triggered again, that, yeah, remember, this and that. I mean, not necessarily consciously, but unconsciously, subconsciously, you're still there. You're still in that moment over in this part of your life. Doesn't mean you can't have good times in between, right? I mean, you could take trips and have dinners and have sex and all these kind of things, but there's still that piece that's just sitting there. Am I right about this part?
Yeah, I'm kind of chuckling because I had a personal memory.
Do we want to share today?
I remember one time, I don't know if it was it must have been at a workshop, because that's usually when Jesse and I would get personal experiences and examples. And so he would say, I don't even try to argue with Melva because she has the memory of an elephant. And she can tell you in detail what happened 5 years ago. He said, I don't remember. I don't remember. But the fact that he doesn't remember in present time doesn't mean that his body doesn't have a memory.
Right.
Because it gets recorded.
Right. One of our outstanding guests, Ife Moore, talks about this part with her work when it comes to trauma within the body, somatic healing. And I want people to know that, yeah, you just don't forget. You may consciously forget and not be able to recall the specific information. But like you said, Mom, I mean, this thing happens, you get triggered, and especially if it's related to something that you experienced as a child, it just gets stored along with that part in the body.
It does.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't go anywhere. So
in the body and in the brain.
Yeah. And in the brain. And so it's important that we recognize this part of what's going on with us. Especially feeling misunderstood, right? I mean, that is deep. I mean, that, at its heart, you feel people, when they're misunderstood, feel unvalidated and not real.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, that doesn't mean that they present themselves
right
in a way that they can be understood.
Right.
Because when you're in survival mode, you can't do it.
Right.
You're attacked.
Okay.
Or you shut down.
I remember what you did. You remember what you did. Anyway, listen, we're going to take another quick break. But when we come back, Mom, we're going to talk about, listen, there's some hope here, right? There's hope. This is not something that can't be resolved or managed, as you guys would tell me. And so we're going to find out more about how to do that work, in just a second. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more of Soulivity today. Hi there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. Hey there, we're back here with noted relationship author and expert Melva Johnson as we discuss reason number 7, feeling misunderstood, which is part of common reasons why couples get stuck in the reality stage of love. I need to put my little Barry White voice in the reality stage of love. Mom, definitely people want to know that the story of their relationships doesn't end here. There are ways to get unstuck if you're stuck in feeling misunderstood. Give us some of the, of some of the reasons and some of these kind of things on how to get unstuck.
Yes. Okay. So remembering that number one, feeling misunderstood is a symptom. It's a symptom of something to pay attention to, because this reason and all the other reasons, there's something going on beneath the surface that is, to me, so exciting to get in touch with. So when people become reactive, it's important for them to know that, first of all, when they're getting in touch with the impact, it's important for them to know that they can't keep, if they keep doing that, they're going to keep doing the same results. What is I say, if you keep doing the same thing and you're hoping for different results,
That's the definition of...
It's a term, yeah.
Yes.
For what that means.
We know that term.
Yeah, and people keep doing the same thing over and over again because it's habits that they have developed over a lifetime. And since people function often in survival mode, then those survival skills are going to show up. So the hope is, number one, knowing that that survival skill is absolutely 100% developed.
Yeah.
But what got you to the place of survival and surviving will not get you to stage 3. So the first step is getting to know oneself and understanding oneself in terms of what's going on within.
Right.
Because when you look at, I used to call it the 80-20 rule. 20% is about what's going on in here and now. 80% is about a replay of some part of history. The more I think about the conscious and the unconscious, the tip of the iceberg, and where people get stuck when they feel misunderstood, is 5% of what's going on.
Wow.
95% of what's going on is beneath the surface.
Wow.
And so when people understand that they don't have to give up their survival skills, they just have to manage what they do when they're in survival mode. Because self-reflection about what all of that means is so
Mhm.
important. And what
Wow.
that means is, with this symptom and all the other symptoms, that in many cases, people are reliving a composite of their history when they have that certain feeling. So when
Mm.
they feel misunderstood, the first time is not in this relationship. They've had a history of important events or a particular event where it was real
Mhm.
important for them to feel understood and they were not.
Wow.
So what
Wow.
they're looking for, and this is what happens in the romantic stage,
Mhm.
what they're looking for is a partner who, number one, is going to trigger them in a way that they
Mhm.
feel misunderstood, but only this time, they get the understanding that they were yearning for all those other times.
Mm.
Now, the other part of that is that the partner that they selected didn't know how to do it. And that is their
Right.
opportunity for growth.
Right.
They don't
Right.
know how to do it either. So
Right.
that's their opportunity for growth. So that's what I call the golden opportunity. There are many golden opportunities in this stage with these symptoms. It's like,
You know,
oh,
y-
so
this
this is
is
what's going on.
yeah, right. 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 Like the aha, right?
Mhm.
And I was thinking about this today, this morning, especially after we had the solar eclipse yesterday, where where these are opportunities for growth and transformation in people's lives, and that when you do get triggered and you do get defensive, that in reality there there's a part of yourself that is actually happy, right? That's like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to resolve this or manage this. It's within myself. We don't consciously think of it that way,
Right.
but it doesn't change the fact that when these things happen, they literally are designed to happen for our best and highest good.
Yeah. And most people don't have the memo.
Right.
Nobody taught them. I mean, who teaches us how to be in relationship? There's no manual for being a parent. There's no
Right.
manual for how to be
Right.
the best version of yourself when you don't have the skills to be there, to be that part of yourself.
Right. 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 And so what do you do? Right? What do
For
you do? You kind of bump your head, bumpy, 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 bumpy. A lot of times relationships will end because they feel that that's all that there is. But again, you're telling us that um now that you're giving people some information, there is another way of dealing with this, right? You probably need some support in dealing with it, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but there's a way through. There is hope. There's a reason why all of this is happening, and it's um not just because the person is bad or whatever we're thinking, you know.
No, in that moment, it's a revelation of undeveloped skills or underdeveloped skills.
Right, right, right,
Because
right.
people go into a
Wow.
trance.
Yeah, I mean,
When
this
people
is
go into in the heat of the moment, or when people are flooded with feelings, they automatically go into a trance
mhm,
because they're
mhm.
living past and present at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, this is not like, you know, this is higher level thinking when it comes to our relationships because again, like you said, nobody taught us to do this stuff. And so um it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
And sometimes people will complain about their partner when they get stuck. and they'll say, you're making this all about you. Well, actually, in the moment, it is all about both people.
Right.
It's all about the opportunity in terms
Right.
of how am I showing up right now? Am I
Right.
contributing to the solution or am I contributing to the problem by the way that
Right.
I'm reacting?
Right. Exactly. Well, listen, this is great. We're not done yet, y'all. We're not done yet. We're going to take this quick break, and then Melva's going to come back and give us some specific tips for when you're feeling misunderstood with your partner in the reality love stage. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible Soulivity team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on Soulivity TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us, a place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Hey, we're back here with noted relationship author and expert Melva Johnson as we discuss reason number 7, which is feeling misunderstood, which is part of 7 common frustrating reasons why couples get stuck. And we're ready to give some tips on how people can deal with this feeling during this stage in their relationship. And what's tip number 1, Mom?
Okay, so it's within the context of these 3 tips are within the context of couples having an opportunity to look at this and see where they're out of alignment and look at, oh, well, this is an opportunity for us to have a tune-up, So number 1 is for each person to do individually, and that is to break the trance. Break the trance by taking a time out. Just stop. You just know that you're just caught up in all of these feelings. You've had history of what happens next, and nothing goes anywhere, and you stay stuck. But if you break the trance and you stop, then those feelings subside. It might take a minute, but at least you're out of the heat of the moment.
Okay. Kind of shake it up.
Yeah, and the trance is
Shake it
broken.
up a
It's
little
like
bit.
the past and present are not showing up together. When you break the trance, you're totally in the present.
Wow. Okay. What's another tip?
So this is a relationship building skill, and that is because you have to, because whatever it is the person is saying, it's important and it's valuable. You have to have a way to express your message clearly in a way that the other person can hear.
Mm.
So it's not finger pointing, it's not sarcasm, it's not judgment, the way the brain is wired to do. It's being able to say what it is that you are experiencing and sharing what it is that you want. People focus on what it is that they don't want. They focus on what the other person is not doing, and just know that the brain is wired to do that. So the skill shifting out of that is getting to that space of reflection, figuring out your message, and being really clear. So talking in a way the other person can hear.
Wow. Okay. Huh. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, because if you're yelling at somebody, they're not gonna hear. All they're gonna hear is receive is the emotional intensity, right? And that's that's why you put your hands on your ears and your head, and it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. So speaking in that tone and those kind of things in a way that the other person can hear, that's good. I like that. You got one more. What's the last tip that you're gonna give?
So when one party can speak in a way the other person can hear, then it's easier for the person who is listening to listen in a way that the other person feels heard, because they're not triggered. So both people have to be in a place where they are centered so that they could do this. And so it takes practice to do this, because the unconscious says, no, this is the way to do it. Been doing it this way for a lifetime.
Right.
And the subconscious has a whole lot more seniority than being reflective. So you got to practice over and over and over. I'm talking about a lifetime of seniority, the subconscious.
Right.
It doesn't take a lifetime to make the shift. It takes practice.
My guess is too that as both people practice talking and listening to each other in this way, how you have the bomb trigger, and like in movies and stuff, got to disarm the trigger so that the bomb won't go off. It's literally like, it feels as though you're disarming the trigger. So even if you do get a little triggered, it feels so good to be understood.
Yeah.
And to actually give the validation, right? That you're literally rewiring yourself to that and not the other thing, right?
Yeah. And there's something very healing about that. Is when a person finally, there's a I don't know where this came from, but it's really important, and that is one of the greatest expressions of love is to know another person and to feel known by them. And so when you're at that place, it's like, and have that experience, some deep healing takes place. And since the subconscious doesn't know the difference between past and present, it's like the past stuff gets healed in the moment. And every time a person does something that is in alignment with being on track with the other person, they grow more into the best version of themselves. And that's why it's worth it to do the work.
Wow.
Because you not only become more of the best person of yourself in your relationship, that becomes who you are in all relationships.
Wow. This has been really good, Mom. This has been really good. And I practice this stuff in my relationship, or I try to do it, which is the whole point, right? You just try, you keep trying over and over and over and over and over again. And so, I think this is really going to be a good series for people to understand, the most common reasons why people get frustrated with each other in their relationships. First of all, that it's natural, it's supposed to happen. Two, that you can become aware of it and you can do something about it. And I know people may have questions after this or after each, show that we're doing. You have support for them. And so people can reach out to you either on social media or they can email you. And you can find all that information by going to your website at Johnson Relationship Institute for Couples. That's all one word, .com. Check out the Follow Me on Social Media page. There's also email there. So people can either email you or direct message you, or as the kids say, DM. You can DM mom on social media, and she can give you more support around this, which I think is really cool. Because I think a lot of times people don't think that that what they need support. And if you get a sprained knee, you go to the doctor, right, and have them wrap it up, give you some advice about what's happening with you to make sure that it's not further along than or that you need some more support. DMing you or emailing you is just one simple step. And so I encourage people to do that, right?
Yeah. And what I want to add to that is it's about, because the question that I'm asking with all of these symptoms is, could your relationship use a tune-up? And if you have any of these symptoms, it is a possibility that the relationship could use a tune-up.
Right.
And I could help you to see what that would look like and feel like for you.
Right. And I just want to remind people that as we do these shows, and there could be people that are in crisis and relationships that are part of crisis, either emotional abuse, vocal abuse, physical abuse, and that you're not alone. And so we encourage you to visit the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their website is at thehotline.gov. You can reach out to them by calling them directly at 1-800-799-SAFE or 7233. That's 1-800-799-SAFE, 723-7233. You can even chat with them online at their website, or you can text START to 8878, because we want to make sure that people understand that, listen, you're not alone. There's varying degrees of support that people need, and that if you or of a loved one that needs the support, that's available for you as well. That it may be, if somebody's hitting you, that is not just a common frustrating thing. That is abuse. That is violence, and you need support for it.
Not okay.
And I know, Mom, you're like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay.
It's
That has to
not
take-
okay.
That has to be taken care of first before any of this could be looked at.
Right. Well, this has been a great show, and we're going to be talking about this for the next few shows together. We got 6 more to go. I know you're not going to give a hint because you want people to not know what's coming up next, but these are all common, right? Any final thoughts that you have about today?
Yeah. The main thing is, if there is enough in the relationship for couples to grow together and to thrive together by first getting to know themselves and how they can show up as their best version, I would say go for it, because you came together, you had a dream, you felt the potential of what you could have for a lifetime in stage 1. Stage 2, you just have to do the work to get there.
Wow. Now that's the beginning of a happily ever after, right? That's the stage. That's a beautiful sight, right? So that's the riding off into the sunset and all that kind of stuff. So it just
Mhm.
takes a little, so the journey to get there is just what you're talking about. And so thanks again, for being here. Noted expert, relationship therapist, all around fantastic person and co-author and all this other stuff, Melva Johnson. Thank you for being here today. Listen, everybody, we're almost out of time, but just want to say thank you for being here on Soulivity today. Just want to remind everybody, we're on all the social media platforms. Please go to Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are living right now, and subscribe to us. Follow us so you'll know about the latest and greatest things that are happening with Soulivity. We also give some great tips, and also this show and all of our other shows for Soulivity today are on podcast. So just go to your podcast provider, may it be Spreaker or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We are there. Just follow us and download, and you can take us wherever you go. Also, there's some fantastic information in soulivity.com. This is inspiration for your passion and purpose. Got some great stories from astrologer Sonia Francis. If you needed more information about the fantastic solar eclipse and supermoon and the things that are happening around that, go check it out, because that's some really cool information for you to know. And listen, this is Brian Westley Johnson saying thank you for being here with us for this show. We're going to be doing this every Monday through Friday, right? This is at 8 o'clock Eastern on all of our Soulivity TV channels, including social media, and at 8 a.m. Pacific time on KMET 1490 AM radio for all of you guys out on the West Coast. Remember, you can listen to us on radio, or you can go to their website and check us out at 8 a.m. Pacific, because they can also broadcast video there. So listen, keep working on your passion and purpose. It's going to lead to your best life of high quality living today. And so until next time, keep working that stuff, and you're going to get to high quality life sooner than later. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.